Hello, Gabriel here, and I just want to talk about people moaning about what people are something a lot of people seem to be moaning about, which is understeer in this game. Now, we need to preface this with the fact that there is too much grip in this game. So, with that in mind, let's go into something that people are sort of blaming the Understeer on, which is the out-of-the-box setups that Codemasters have provided are actually set up to give oversteer. Now, first off, don't use an out-of-the-box setup because, for starters, they do not use enough negative camber. The brake force is always too high. There's never any preload, which is just annoying. And the gears tend to be, the first gear is normally too short. Yeah. I think that's about it. Oh, and there's no reason why that can't be higher as well. Okay. So first off, setup now. If it's like killing you, if you really hate it, understeer, there are a few things you can do. First off, you if your car allows you to, you take some of the brake bias off the front. You can lower the front driving lock. You can lower this braking lock, although it's normally quite low anyway. I tend to actually put it up a bit. You can lower the hell out of the preload. You can increase the rear driving lock and lower the rear driving lock. You can soften the spring rate. You can stiffen the rear bar. Maybe even increase the ride height on the back. So there's loads of things you can do to make your stuff more oversteery. Now, why are you doing that? Why do you want more oversteer? Should we cover that? Because it feels better. It feels better. We're trying to get a more realistic feel out of the car. Well, that may be all well and good, but actually, in real life, and I'm going to leave references to these things as much as I can, you'll see that they actually try to avoid too much oversteer. You only tend to see lots of oversteer where they've committed quite aggressively to a corner. Other than that, they're virtually aiming to come out of the corner without being in an oversteer situation. So where what they're trying to do is operate at the sort of the least amount of yaw possible. And as far as steering input's actually concerned, that means almost being in a sort of a small state of understeer coming through the corner. So you're steering in the direction you want to turn around the corner, and the rear is sliding very slightly out, but you're never actually losing the rear of the car sort of too much. It's never forcing it. You want to be in a situation where you don't have to countersteer. So you're aiming to drive like you're on track, even though you're on a loose surface. So trying to counteract understeer is okay, fair enough. If it's really getting to you, then be my guest. But just be aware that that's understeer. It's not like the devil. it's actually preferable, especially when we combine it with driving technique, like I'll link in the description below, that real rally drivers actually use, and that technique, as you'll see, is little half, 70% throttle input coming around a corner, precisely so that they have traction, and so they're not so the rear isn't coming out, and they're not just going to slide out to the end of the edge of the road, and also so they don't understeer, because that's how their cars are set up, so they don't understeer into the tree on the outside of the corner. So I've put in the link description Kris Meeke talking about some footage where he says that, you know, they're putting the steering input, but you're getting a very small amount of understeer through the corner. So as you can see, that's obviously desirable because he points out that it's faster. And then you can also see how the real drivers drive with the telemetry, and you can see that they don't just power. You know, they don't just, you know, they just don't just drive up to the corner, you know, flick the steering wheel to the left or right, set it up into an oversteer situation, and then just power around. Like, yeah, they will do that sometimes, but that's usually when they've got room to do it on the exit on the corner, or they've got a sequence of fast corners, they can get away with that. But if they're really trying to actually do it smoothly, they're gonna brake and bring the bit of the front, the weight to the front of the car, turn in, and then modulate throttle through the corner until they can. And even the brake, sometimes there's a lot of left foot braking that occurs in real rally through corners. They'll and then you know, they'll wait until they can get fully back on the throttle. So I'd really like to see less people sort of demonising understeer, demonising the out-of-the-box setups, which, like I said, are designed to be understeery for your sake. They're meant to be more controllable. And also, as I said at the very start, I have to remember that this is all from a situation where, you know, there's too much grip. So when you do put the throttle down and the weight shifts to the back of the car in this game, the car loads up loads of grip on too much grip, you know, an unrealistic amount of grip on the rear tyres, and it's going to try and push you forward. So that's my thoughts on this, and my advice would be, when you're going to do your setups, that you just you actually try to retain some of that understeer and just learn how to drive properly. Okay, cheers, bye.